Welcome to the show. I'm Jason Whitlock, and I'll tell you how LeBron James embarrassed himself after getting swept by the Warriors.
And I'm Cowherd, and I'll tell you why. Just like I've said all along, LeBron's going to the Lakers, and it's going to happen soon. Speak for yourself on a Monday starts right now.
Oh, you seem so pleased with yourself.
Yes, I am.
LeBron's coming to town. It's like Santa Claus is coming to town. All right, hello and welcome. We're joined today by NBA champion Dante Jones and Fox NBA analyst Chris Broussard. Let's start with LeBron James, who might have just gotten swept by the Warriors, but made it very clear that he has no idea where he'll play next season. Even still, basically the whole world assumes his days with the Cavaliers are over, and if that's the case, he won't leave his hometown team in very good shape. With the Cavs in the hands of Kevin Love, George Hill, Tristan Thompson, and Cleveland's favorite son, A.S.Smith, among others, Cowherd, should LeBron be concerned about leaving the Cavaliers in such a mess?
No. Again, it's not his issue. They had a #1 pick years ago, and they picked Anthony Bennett. Probably the #1 worst pick of all time. Giannis was available that draft. You love Steven Adams. He was available. Victor Oladipo was available. And if you put any of those three guys on this team, especially Giannis, LeBron's not leaving Cleveland. This is once again the Cavs unable, when given an opportunity. They handed the franchise over to LeBron, but they have wasted opportunity after opportunity.
And so, I mean, not taking Giannis, that was before LeBron and it came back. The decisions since LeBron came back have been mostly dictated or influenced by LeBron James. And so, yeah, I do think he has a little bit of responsibility to leave this team in better shape than just a hot mess. Chris Paul, who has really no real connection to the LA Clippers, made it a point to try to leave the Clippers in as good a shape as possible. He did. He did.
That was the only way he could get out of there.
Right.
Houston couldn't have just signed him outright as a free agent. Chris didn't care if they would have sent garbage bags to the Clippers, all right? He wanted out. That's the only way. I'm
It's his
shocked.
hometown team.
Come on. You really think he has some responsibility to make sure they're in good
Responsibility
shape?
is a strong word. Should he be concerned is the question. Yes, I think he should have a little bit of concern about his hometown team.
Not at all. First of all, I don't even think he grew up as a Cavs fan because, look, the Cavs were a bad team.
Front
when he was
runner,
growing
Cowboys fan, or,
yeah, George,
Yankees
Michael,
fan.
Cowboys and all that.
Yeah.
But he spent 11 years there if he leaves. He took them to the finals, a team that never been 5 times. He won 1 championship, their first in a major sport in 52 years. When he leaves, there should be more of a feeling of gratitude in the city.
Thank you.
And thank you for coming back, and we understand you want to chase more championships. But no,
The way you left the Kansas City Star, we were just honored to have you. Now go to greater things. It's the way they should handle it.
No, I left the Kansas City Star in much better shape than when I got there.
But it wasn't the same when you left.
Well, no, LeBron's never
That's
going to
because I was gone.
Number one, LeBron's never going to do that because obviously you're going to be bad when he leaves. But this happens to all championship teams. How good were the Celtics after Bird and McHale? And
Thank you.
The Lakers after Kobe. Well, no, Showtime. You know, you struggle.
Do you think he's going to be
now
guilty?
The Lakers after Kobe.
He should not be concerned, number one. Number two, they're not in as bad shape as you think they are because they have assets where they can acquire things and they can make this situation work. They can trade LeBron. They can sign and trade LeBron if they get under the cap. So Kevin Love's an asset. There's some teams that won't turn Kevin Love down. You can get him for cash. You have Jordan Clarkson that's an asset. You have Kyle Korver who's an asset because people need more shooting. So you can turn this roster into
Kyle Korver?
It's an asset. It's an asset for
Can we
some
just
teams.
rewind? We'll
No.
remove Kyle Korver from that.
No. He's an asset because he's at a price point
Big three.
where you can get shooting.
Big three.
And it won't cost you that much. if you want regular season basketball, you get Kyle Korver.
He didn't say he was the best asset.
I said he's an asset.
That's
I said,
right.
So you can get things and you can shape your roster to make a contending team, not for a championship, but a playoff contending team. And he's not in a bad situation. Because if you sign and trade LeBron James for assets, let's say in my guy Collins' situation going to LA, they have assets that can trade for LeBron James and still make them a good team for the future.
I
and
like
right now.
that.
Well, the more
So you still can make this a situation. Julius Randle, hypothetically, could be out there in a situation where you could sign and trade him and put him on that roster and make a young, competitive, athletic team with that number one pick.
Trade would be Boston. L.A., LeBron probably would rather go there as a free agent so they don't lose some of those assets.
No, but you could. But if you trade him to LA, now you still can use that roster, use that cap space, and sign 2 free agents. So now you get a big 3 instead of a big 2.
But by the way, guys, this
you
is
mean
how
in L.A.
In
Yeah.
LA.
Yeah, I think they should.
this is the way in the NBA it generally works. Your Dr. J, your Magic leaves. I mean, we've seen the Lakers.
Magic left?
No, but when Shaq left the Lakers, even with Kobe, they went into the tank.
Shaq got kicked out of the Lakers.
Well,
But they did go
regardless,
down.
they went down and were irrelevant, and then they went and made a trade, engineered it for Pau Gasol when Michael left. I don't think they've ever recovered. I mean, this is the reality. Akeem's gone. The Rockets weren't good until about this year. It's okay. That's the way sports works.
At Buffalo Wild Wings, we'll admit that we often go overboard with our limited time offerings. We just can't help ourselves. Take our new signature sampler. For $15, you get wings and 3 shareable options like fried pickles or cheese curds. Then there's our aptly named over-the-top nachos, a literal mountain of crispy tortilla chips loaded with your choice of pulled pork or honey barbecue grilled chicken, corn, jalapenos, and more. Then top it all off with our new platinum margarita. Go overboard with us today at Buffalo Wild Wings. Wings, beer, sports. Available for a limited time while supplies last. Please drink responsibly.
All right, well, LeBron's future isn't the only thing people were talking about over the weekend, especially after he showed up to that post-game presser with a cast on his right hand. Whitlock probably just went crazy on that. But unlike his plans for next year, LeBron had plenty to say about his injury.
What happened, self-inflicted, post-game after game 1, very emotional. For a lot of different reasons, understanding how important a game 1 is on the road for our ball club. What would that done for us? The way we played, the calls that was made throughout the course of that game. I had emotions on, the game was taken away from us. I had emotions of you just don't get an opportunity like this on the road versus Golden State to be able to get a game 1. And, I let the emotions get the best of me and pretty much played the last 3 games with a broken hand. So that's what it is.
It's amazing. Whitlock was wearing that cast of bad luck.
Everything that transpired game 4 was a bad luck. That NBA All-Star game that they played in game 4, the effort that they gave in game 4, a bad luck. What did he take, 13 shots in the game? He gave up. So, and then to come into that post-game press conference with that and go ahead and get ready to tease me. I like LeBron.
You keep saying
I
that.
like LeBron. But this is inexcusable to come in there with that cast and throw that excuse out there. It's embarrassing. It speaks to someone, and again, people got upset with me over Twitter because I compared him to Ted Kennedy. And I did it because Ted Kennedy's that royal family. And as soon as he got in a big jam, puts a neck brace on and starts making excuses. And it's how privileged and elite people act. Instead of taking responsibility and owning it, they go to distractions. Bobby Petrino did it at Arkansas. And again, I'm not comparing what LeBron did to those guys, but the mentality is the same when you've been pampered. No one in the media after that game asked this man a tough question about that effort that him and his team gave and whether that was a stain and why are you just now rolling out this cast. No one questioned this guy at all. It's inappropriate. When you're that powerful and that important, you should be questioning. You shouldn't be offended by it. And if he were the guy, this magnanimous person that everyone thinks he is, he wouldn't be upset if people actually questioned him.
Listen, if you'd have told me before the series, all right, there's this team, and they have 4 Hall of Famers, a better coach, home court, and they get a huge, huge break in officiating in game 1. They also have the deeper, better, younger athletic roster against the one-man team. You'd have called it a sweep. You'd have said the last game's probably a 20-point game. I mean, we can talk about all the minutiae and the details, but we're watching a dynasty against arguably the worst finals roster ever. In 2 of those 4 games, a minute to go, I didn't know who was going to win. That's pretty darn good. This is a mismatch. When you lose a bowl game to Alabama by 30, did you quit or did you get rolled?
No, we're going to have to go long because I want to give these guys plenty of time. Colin, the man is supposed to be in his 15th year, this great leader, respected figure. Some adversity strikes, and it's bad, and look, I get it. J.R. Smith, what he did was criminal. But in your 15th year, you got to handle it better than LeBron James
Perhaps.
did. You can't. This is Gus Frerotte slamming his head into a goalpost. This man comes in and admits, I slammed my fist into a chalkboard and ruined my team's chances.
He took responsibility for what happened.
Yeah.
So the media is going to tear him down regardless of when.
Oh, come on.
Listen,
the media bends over and kisses the dude's butt.
When he lost, the media was going to tear him apart for everything regardless of it. There was no way of honorably losing for the man. However, coming to the media conference with a cast on your hand, now that it's over and now that I can show what is going on in my life and with my body, because if I did it in game 1, the Warriors would attack my hand.
Yeah.
I can never show it with this cast because they will attack me. So now, as I'm preparing to take care of my body for the rest of the summer, now I can take care of it. Now I can put a cast on.
When he was
now
slapping five with everybody on the way out, was his children attacking his hand then?
You can still shake people's hands when you have a swollen hand. You know that, right? When something's wrong with your hand, you still can shake a person's hand.
You can make it through a press conference without putting that cast on.
But what you don't know.
You're not suggesting he wasn't hurt.
Oh, no, I think he was hurt.
Okay. Look, I'm not killing him like you. I do agree. I think it was bad optics to come to the press conference with the cast. Like, you could have waited to put that on. You know, I get why he didn't let it out earlier.
Why?
Because they would have been. Just because it looks bad. It looks like it opens yourself up to this type of criticism. It looks like you're making an excuse. I'm not saying he was making an excuse. It isn't an excuse because it's self-inflicted and you played through it. So there's no excuse. I just think it's a bad look to go with the cast at the conference.
Two things. Number one, the way the arena is shaped, you go from locker room, press conference, out. The press conference is right near the exit. Number one.
But you can go out anyway. I mean, I've been
number one. So then I have to go backwards to the locker room, get my hand wrapped up, because at the end of the day, it just is what it is. It's hurt. I can take care of my hand right now. I can wrap it, and I can go home and be with my kids. The season's over. Why do I have to think about? Why do I have to think about every way of you guys? But it doesn't take you out of being a human, and you still think like a human. You're a public figure to everybody else except yourself.
I get what you're saying. I'm not saying he was legitimately hurt.
He is legitimately hurt. We know this. We've seen it.
It's just like not a few years ago against Dallas when he said at the press conference, now everybody can go back to their little old lives, and basically implying that people stop focusing on me and go back to your lives, which aren't that great.
Crummy lives.
He was actually right. That was true. And I get where you're getting criticized by people and you're like, look, go back to your own life if it's so great and all that. He was right to say that. I understand why he said it. It was a bad look. And that's what I'm saying with this. It just wasn't necessary to go out there with the cast because it made it look like Jason says you're looking for somebody to give you an excuse.
It made it look like the truth. It made it look like I'm hurt, I'm taking care of my injury, and I'm leaving, and I'm done for the year.
You could have done it, Dante, without the cast. You just played a game without the cast. You just slapped five with everybody walking out off the arena.
If my season's over, am I thinking about the optics of my life?
When you're a public figure, you have to think about the optics in virtually everything.
Dante,
you take the humanity out of it when you put humanity in everything.
Let me ask you a real question. Does LeBron ever manipulate the media?
Does LeBron ever manipulate the? I don't know that answer. I don't know that answer. I know we tell what we want to as athletes regardless. As human beings, we tell what we want. We shape opinions according to how we want.
Happen to leak in the
information was already out. The information
of the
before
fourth,
he got there.
In the fourth game. What do you mean the information was out?
It said that the information is already out there. So somebody prepped him and told him that the information is out there.
No. I'm saying it leaked on that day. On Wednesday
during the game
or Friday,
but
it leaked.
I was told that people had the information in the locker room, like media had it already.
People knew. People knew during the game they were talking about it.
Okay.
And so his guys told him when he came back, look, everybody already knows you got to
take care of yourself.
So you could. Not having a cast on for 15 more minutes wouldn't have been it's not going to put your hand in danger. And again, I'm not with Jason on this. I'm just saying that's my only criticism is it was just a bad look.
It's excuse making. It's look, he's not the leader and the competitor that a lot of other champions are. That's what he's a great player.
Disagree.
One of the 2 or 3 greatest players of all time. But as a leader and a competitor, he falls short in comparison to a lot of other guys. And if some people use that to justify in backing him up in how they rank the players.
He did play all 82 games, had the most minutes in the finals. Is it possible that he was like, this series is over, I'm going home, I played the most minutes, we got our butt kicked, I'm just going to put it on, it's irrelevant.
Is it possible?
We got swept. It wasn't like a Game 7 where he missed the final shot. You know, my hand, they got rolled. He played 82 games. He played the most minutes in the playoffs. Like durability, he plays.
He didn't play all that hard, and his team didn't play all that hard in Game 4.
See, Jay, that's where I think
Travesty.
Michael Jordan beat up a teammate, Steve Kerr.
Right.
And everybody wants to say, you know, LeBron's not a great leader.
I think he
Jordan
deserved
was.
it.
Different types of leadership.
It's
different type
you
of
said
leadership
LeBron
that are
only took
available.
13 shots. He didn't try hard. Eastern Conference Finals 1989, 2-2 series at Detroit against Detroit. Michael Jordan takes 8 shots. 8 shots. Kobe Bryant against Phoenix. Just stop shooting. Just to pout. I'm not going to shoot in the second half. That doesn't stick to them. Why does this stuff stick to LeBron? Why aren't they viewed as non-competitive?
Because his standard is here.
Michael, where's Michael's standard at?
But we didn't have social media. Michael was worshipped.
He's a different type of leader. He leads in a different capacity. He leads by example on and off the court. He should be applauded for how he leads in the community, in the locker room, and on the court. Like he doesn't get texts. He doesn't lose his mind. He never embarrasses.
He doesn't lose his mind.
He doesn't
but
embarrass
slammed
himself.
his hand into a chalkboard.
And we would have never known it unless he told you
But
or
he
the media
did it.
found out. But he never disrespects
He threw a
his
tantrum
teammates
on the
himself.
sideline in front of, with the cameras rolling. That was not
that's
leadership.
a part of competition. He never punched anybody. He never assaulted anybody. He never did anything.
He got the
destructive
best
to
out
his
of Steve
teammates.
Kerr. Steve Kerr hit the shot because he was scared
Steve
of
Kerr
Jordan.
hit a shot. Steve Kerr's missed shot. Steve Kerr hit a shot, not because Michael knocked him out. Please, sir.
Honestly,
that's out of
I'm halfway joking, but maybe if Kyle Korver was a little afraid of LeBron, he would have made more than one shot in this series.
Kyle Korver's afraid of the moment. Forget me. All right, welcome back. Dante Jones and Chris Broussard are back. Let's move to Kevin Durant, who just cruised to a second straight NBA title, second straight Finals MVP. Good for KD. Last couple of years, Durant, who's faced critics who say joining the Warriors was the easy way out. But KD just offered a different perspective, saying, quote, hey, I feel like it's easy to be the best player when you don't have good players around you. I feel like it's harder to stand out when you have great players around you. I pride myself on standing out wherever I am. Whitlock, is Durant taking a shot at LeBron?
Tiny, yeah. I can't. I disagree with it completely. I think what Kevin Durant has done the last 2 years in comparison to what LeBron has done the last 2, there's just no comparison. If I'm a great player, blessed with the skills that Kevin Durant has, and I get to play with Steph Curry, Klay Thompson, Draymond Green, and all that space they create, as opposed to what LeBron faces on a daily basis, it's preposterous. And so Kevin wants to challenge LeBron as the greatest player playing right now. There's just no comparison. It's laughable.
Am I crazy to suggest he was taking a shot at Westbrook, too?
Oh, yeah, I think he was doing that for sure.
Because I've seen LeBron adjust. I've seen LeBron join great players. Remember, Kyrie left LeBron. LeBron didn't leave Kyrie. So to me, what he's saying is, I don't think he's taking a shot at LeBron. I think we all know LeBron likes to play with other great players. LeBron's leaving Cleveland right now. He wouldn't if he had better players. I think he's taking a little shot again at Westbrook, which is, all right, you score 50, but you can't play with great guys. I think everybody knows LeBron plays with great players very well.
When LeBron was in Miami with 2 other great players, he won 2 MVP awards, 2 championships. So that kind of shuts this down. And also, in knowing their relationship, I'm not saying they're best friends, but they have a good, respectful relationship for each other. It would be hard for me to see KD taking that type of shot at LeBron. Now, I do think there's a part of KD that was in defense mode. Because, you know, he knows people are, it's the easy way out. Of course, you're winning championships. I think this was a little defense mechanism of, hey, it's harder actually to shine with great players than with poor players. But I don't think he was taking a shot at LeBron.
I'm hoping he wasn't taking a shot at LeBron because that statement was just false in general because they ultimately magnify his talent, as you said.
Yeah.
They give him spacing to play one-on-one, one of the top 2 one-on-one players, him and Kyrie, And if Kyrie had the spacing that he had, like, it would be the same situation. Like, you can't guard them one-on-one. You can send defenders, but when you have the best shooting cast of all time around you, then it's going to be damaged no matter who's guarding you. You can't send anyone. You send somebody off Draymond, he passes the ball well, he makes plays. Like, you have a cast that magnifies your talent. It's not easier to hold the responsibility that LeBron James hold for winning and losing, because when you lose, they blame Steph, they blame Steve. They don't ultimately go directly to you.
And I think to Dante's point, we've seen this with Kobe Bryant. Kobe may have gotten frustrated with Shaq, but Kobe was really frustrated post-Shaq, pre-Gasol. He still takes shots at Smush. You know, there's an old saying is, guys want to be the man, they don't want to be the only man. And it's fun. It's like when if you took a job just for money. First couple of checks, you're like, woo! After about the third check, you're like, I hate my job. So you can't go a place for money, and I don't think you can go to a place just to be the only guy. And I think it is easier in Golden State.
It's a lot easier. Look, man, I compare it to any type of entertainer. When you take the stage solo the way Michael Jackson did,
right,
and you have to command the audience, that's a lot harder than being in the Jackson 5. And so, and that's why LeBron, again, and I get it. I have my criticisms of LeBron, but I get and understand his greatness. And, you know, I'll disagree with y'all a little bit. I think LeBron has a bit of a problem playing with other stars. That's why they didn't win not 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 titles in Miami, because LeBron is Michael Jackson. And he'll move to L.A. and maybe bring Chris Paul and Paul George with him, and he'll figure out again, he'll get restless. Like, man, I like that solo act. Because that's who LeBron is at the end of the day. And we can knock him for it, or we can understand when you got that many gifts, you kind of need a bigger solo stage.
What I think is that I don't think LeBron is going to, I got to be the man, I don't want them to shine. But I think Kevin Durant's game is better suited to playing with other stars than LeBron. LeBron lifts mediocre players to really high levels. Good ones he doesn't make worse, but, you know, Kyrie got the shine, Dwayne Wade got the shine. But Kevin Durant, because he can catch and shoot, he can move without the ball. His game, he's just a better scorer. His game is better suited to, like, he went to Golden State and for the most part just fit in.
Right.
LeBron, if LeBron had gone to Golden State instead of Durant, now they'd be phenomenal, but it'd be a much different style of play. They'd be playing off LeBron, and he'd be kicking it out to Steph and Clay.
Imagine that.
And there would be grumbling pains.
But it wouldn't be
like
the free-flowing, smooth offense.
But there would be grumbling pains just like there were initially in Miami. Dwayne Wade had to adjust.
LeBron's grown up dominating the ball.
Oh, no, because you could put the ball in LeBron James' hand, and who's going to leave to help? You're not going to leave off Steph. You're not going to leave off Clay. You might try with Draymond, but he can go through the second guy. He just can't go through the third guy. So you be sending one defender at LeBron except for his defender, it'd be layups all day long. Like,
Dante, I'm not a basketball player by any stretch, but the fun of basketball is having that ball in your hand. And every great player, every great player wants the ball. Not every great player wants to be catch and shoot and blah, blah. They love having that ball in their hand.
I think he likes having the ball in his hands for parts of the game, but he likes giving the ball to someone that can do something with it. He doesn't have the personnel to give it up to somebody.
I'm talking about Steph.
Right, I think the ball would still move, but you could go to somebody.
They wouldn't have it as long, and there would be grumblings, just like Dwayne Wade struggled.
By the way,
they looked the same way with Kevin Durant at times against Houston, where he dominated the ball too much. It was like, hey,
by the way,
this isn't Golden State.
How do we know there are not grumblings here? David West comes out after the game and says,
I know.
You guys have no idea what we're going through. This is not as easy in the locker room as people think.
All right, welcome back. We're joined now by Fox NFL analyst Tony Gonzalez and the founder of the Big Lead, Jason McIntyre. Let's move to Terrell Owens, who continues to take heat for announcing that he would blow off his own Hall of Fame induction ceremony this August, including some strong words from another Hall of Fame receiver, Michael Irvin.
It's bigger than him. First of all, yes, people are going to take this and say, well, this is exactly what we were talking about. T.O. couldn't get along with any team that he's been on, and now he's on the ultimate team, and here he is again doing the same thing. He can't get along with his Hall of Fame teammates, you know, and people are going to say that, and listen, hey, when you start making these kinds of decisions, that stuff carry and has merit to it. But my biggest disappointment is there are going to be other guys that come after you that people are going to have thoughts and questions about. And when you do this, I think it affects their opportunity to getting in the hall as well.
All right, Cowherd, do you have an issue with how T.O. is handling this?
Well, it's not unexpected. You've said on this show before, disappointment comes from expectations. This is what I would expect. I confronted him last week on my show. He's needy, he's high maintenance. He says he's passionate. I think skipping this is needy. By the way, Axl Rose skipped the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame. So did David Bowie. So did Kiss, the band. Hall of Fame.
They weren't first ballot?
Well, Hall of Fames are the biggest stars. Athletes, to some degree, are artists. We've seen political speeches, anger, not showing up for certain inductions by Hollywood actors and actresses and rock stars and athletes. And we just knew this what he is. So to your point, expectations. For me, I kind of figured this is what he'd do.
Yeah, I kind of figured this is what he would do, but I think Michael Irvin makes a tremendous point about the potential impact on others coming in behind him and people feeling justified in holding personal grudges or the things that I've always said I didn't think he was a great fit for the Hall of Fame. Others have said his numbers justify just put him in. Now people that want to evaluate other things than numbers will use T.O. as justification. And then my other concern was just like the Hall of Fame induction ceremony is about a celebration of all the people that helped you get there. It's really not about the athlete. The athlete gets rewarded with money and fame, and he's going to have a bus there. That day actually is, generally speaking, a celebration of everyone else. And then the third thing I would add is just I'm growing concerned, and I want to be very careful moving forward with my criticism of T.O. T.O. doesn't seem happy. He attacked myself and Michael Irvin over Twitter pretty viciously. And it's not that it hurt me. It made me concerned about him. Is he in a happy, good place? You're into the Hall of Fame, and you're coming at me. And so I don't want to be in some sort of dispute that's causing T.O. more unrest and more pain or discomfort. I want to be more careful.
I mean, listen, I know this is the T.O. we've always seen. This is a guy who, while he was playing, had a reality show on VH1. Like, I don't think any other athletes had his own specific reality show. And Terrell Owens, you know, he's always wanted the spotlight. He's been, as you said, needy. This is a guy who is trying to upstage Randy Moss and other great guys going into the weekend, make it all about him. I would agree he's probably got some demons, and it's a little scary. And I would add, I believe this is like the beginning of something with social media. Terrell Owens has been told on social media, he's great, you're amazing, you're above the Hall of Fame. You know, we're seeing people some of these institutions being attacked, like the media, the courts. Big picture, we're going to start to see some of these social media athletes starting to think, like, man, I'm above the Hall of Fame. Yeah. You know, yellow jacket, that's nice. I'm bigger than that.
That's tough.
Well, you know, you guys bring up a good point. I never even thought about it. Yeah, is he really in that much pain, different than what it was 15 years ago when he was playing? It was still the same stuff that was going on. I don't know if I'd be too concerned, but you never know. But the way I look at it right now, if he doesn't want to go, don't come. Don't go then. In fact, guys that are reaching out to T.O. saying you should really think about this, maybe you should reconsider. My point would be like, you know what? You're a grown man. I have little kids. I always try to talk them into doing something that I want them to do. And, you know, for the betterment of them. They don't even know any better. But they're little kids. This is a grown man. Let him make this decision and then move on. And I wouldn't even, if I'm Randy Moss or Ray Lewis or whatever, I'd be like, I'm not talking about this. This is who this guy is. Let him go. He's making a choice. Respect his wishes. Yeah. Don't come and don't talk about it.
Listen, because it's sports, and in sports, everybody wears a jersey for a city. We feel like we've got ownership of this stuff. Hall of Fames have had divas and rock stars and skipping and rudeness, and this is what Hall of Fames are.
We can't think of another sports Hall of Famer that skipped the induction ceremony. I want to try to end this on a lighter note. This started with T.O. inviting me to have donuts and milk with him, and so I said yes. that I would. And you know, I don't know if T.O.'s going to do it, but T.O., if you're watching, I'm having donuts. But Randy Moss also teased me about this.
Because
about
T.O. has been banging on you to lose weight.
To lose weight. And this would be my response to his suggestion that I lose weight.
Eat a cake donut? I don't
You gonna
think
share
that's-
those, Jason?
Those look really good.
That's not a great start. To New England, where Tom Brady and Bill Belichick were back together last week at minicamp after a tumultuous offseason. According to the Boston Globe, Belichick did his best to shut down any talk of drama. But Brady might have actually made things worse. As the Globe writes, quote, he didn't want to say whether he wants a new contract. He didn't stay at the podium long enough to be asked why. He said, I plead the fifth. When asked at the Milk and Talk whether he feels appreciated by Belichick, he didn't want to discuss whether he still has the same drive or passion for football that helped him achieve his greatness. And Brady wouldn't even commit to joining his teammates at OTAs this week. According to Ian Rappaport, Brady won't be there this week after all. All right, Whitlock, whose side should the Patriot fans be on, Belichick or Brady?
You got to be on Brady's side because he's in the right here. Brady needs help in trying to get Belichick to adapt to the modern NFL. He doesn't have to change. He just needs to adapt and tweak a little bit. You can't make that decision in the Super Bowl about Malcolm Butler and not explain it to your team and your players. And so I think the fans in New England should be on Brady's side in trying to pressure Bill Belichick into ending this feud because this feud is no good for this team.
You know, you know what this makes me think of? Tom's got 1 year left. Tom's not going to go through this for multiple years. This feels like Tom was ticked off about the Malcolm Butler move, and Tom's saying,
and Alex Guerrero.
And I got about 9 months left. And Tom, if Tom had 4 years left, he's not trying to get Belichick fired because you know Belichick's good for him winning games. This is Brady making a decision now. I got 9 months, and I'm moving and hanging out with my wife and doing the TB12 clinic, and I've got my endorsements and brands. That's what all this signals. Tom's not going to be in a grudge for 4 years. It's not going to happen.
Well, if that's the case, then fans should side with Bill Belichick, right? He's the long-term guy. I mean, if you want to get technical, they don't have Jimmy Garoppolo because of Tom Brady. You know, you want to be a Patriots fan for 1 year, great. Maybe they'll go back to the Super Bowl. Next 5, 10 years, they could use Belichick. They could use Garoppolo. I would side with Bill Belichick here.
No, I would probably go with the fans because with Tom Brady, just because I understand. I think I talked about it last time I was on the show. He's making, what, $14 million this year? Yeah. That's not good for a guy of his caliber. I think he's saying, I've given you the hometown discount throughout my career.
Right.
At this point, come on, just give me something close. I don't have to be making $35 million because that doesn't win championships. I'm a big believer in that. You can't have a guy making that much money, and Tom Brady's proved that. You need to have somebody, but I do believe in, like, respect. Give him more than $14 million.
Yeah, but Tony, wait a second.
Give him a little bit of a two-year
Lakers
deal.
fans sided with Kobe Bryant when he demanded everything. What did that get them?
Yeah.
No playoffs, 20 wins in the lottery, and they've been struggling. Now they're begging LeBron and other players to come here.
That was too much money.
Be careful with siding with the old superstars.
Cowherd, I think you have the right argument. I think you're just arguing for the wrong person. What if Bill Belichick only has 1 year left? And that's why Tom is doing this, and that's why they talked Josh McDaniels into not taking the Colts job, because next year it'll be Josh McDaniels and Tom Brady. What if this is Belichick's last year, and that's why
Do you
he's wrong?
believe he's told them?
Told who?
Well, I mean,
Told. Why else does Josh? I just don't see Belichick as a guy that has a coach in waiting, sit and comfortable with
but
that.
the question is Tom mishandling the because we're questioning how Tom's Belichick's doing what he's always done. Brady's the one that skipped OTAs.
No. My point is, you've made a better point than our question. Who's got 1 year left? Who's on their way out the door?
I think it's Brady.
Belichick or Brady.
You think it's Belichick?
I'm saying, think about this. Maybe it's Belichick that's on his way out the door, and that's why Tom Brady's acting the way he does, and that's why they got Josh McDaniels to turn down the Colts.
So Brady knows privately, what do I care? Bill's gone in a year.
He and Josh McDaniels are tied.
Well, and he and Bob Kraft.
Yeah, and probably closer than he and Belichick. So maybe that's Bob Kraft, Josh McDaniels, everybody. So you got to put up with this guy for 1 more year.
Listen, this is so off-brand for Brady. I just don't think it's going to last forever. something's going on here. Some mechanism is driving this, probably Malcolm Butler. But am I supposed to believe Brady's going to hide for the press for 9 months? He's the biggest star in the league. He's going to have to sit down for, press conferences.
Whitlock, what if the opposite is true? Bill Belichick begged McDaniels to stay because he lost Matt Patricia. He lost Tom Brady to Kraft. Belichick has no allies there. Josh McDaniels is his only ally if he wants to stick around. He lost the quarterback, and he lost the owner.
Look at this reality television.
Yes,
I love
like
it, man.
that.
I don't see Belichick worried about that. I think me or Colin's right. One guy has 1 year left, Brady or Belichick.
Why can't they both be on their way out? Is it that inconceivable to think that these two would end it at the same time? I've always thought that and it makes perfect sense. It would be the greatest story. But
whoever sticks
2 more
around.
years. I don't think it's 1 more year. I think 2 more years. Tom, give him some money, some respect. You don't have to put $30 million on it. Put $22 million on it or something, and they walk out the door together.
But I just think the Alex Guerrero situation's changed it. The Malcolm Butler situation has changed it. And what you're talking about, the finances, seeing all these other quarterbacks get all this money. And not just that Tom Brady won you this, he was the MVP last year. So the league decided he was the best player last year, and he's making $14-15 million bucks. It doesn't make sense.
All right, welcome back. Dante Jones is back. We're joined now by Fox Sports Radio host, NBA insider Chris Mannix. Good to have you here. Let's return to LeBron, whose future is still up in the air. Right after getting swept by the Warriors, LeBron said he had no idea what his plans were for next year. Got to believe him. Vegas has the Lakers as a slight favorite. Dwayne Wade just gave our buddy here, Chris, some insight into what could drive LeBron's decision.
For me, I don't think it's a basketball thing. Obviously he's shown this year he could get to the finals, no matter what the circumstances are, I don't really think for him the basketball decision of saying, oh, let me go team up with 3 all-stars. And I think at this point in his life it's more so of a lifestyle thing of, where my family going to be the most comfortable at, where I'm going to be the happiest at. Because basketball-wise, he's so great, he can bring along and take along whoever.
All right, Whitlock, Lakers' best landing spot for the King?
I'm not 100% sure because I'll go back to, again, I believe, and LeBron may not even be fully aware of this, or he may disagree with me. I believe, though, LeBron is most happy when he is the king and he has a court. I don't think he's a guy, and what I mean by court, the full court to do whatever the hell he wants. I don't think he's most happy as a basketball player when he's sharing the court with equals or people close to equals to him. And so I still believe Cleveland is the best spot because, again, I think he's a king. Dan Gilbert caters to him. Whether they get along or not, Dan Gilbert treats him like a king, and I just don't think he's going to get that in L.A. And, he may come out here and chase titles with Chris Paul, Paul George, whomever. I think he's most happy when he gets to do whatever the hell he wants to do.
He didn't look happy to me. He punched the wall. That wasn't a happiness.
That's J.R. Smith.
I think he's frustrated as hell, and I think L.A. is a great landing spot. The only place that I wonder if the league is concerned, if he went to Houston and then on 2 teams in the league. First of all, the East loses its best player. I wrote down a note this morning. 20 of the top 25 players would be in the West. If he goes to Houston and they played Golden State, you'd have 5 to 6 of the top 15 players in the NBA in a series. I think the NBA would prefer he not go to Houston. Outside of that, he'd be really good with all of them. He'd make Boston great, Philly great, Lakers would be great. He's going to win everywhere. He just got to the finals with that. But I do think the Houston thing, if I was Adam Silver, I'd be like, I've seen this before. It's called the Warriors. I'm not sure it's good for our brand.
I think the Lakers is the best spot because if you take LeBron James off these Cavs right now and they play the Lakers, who's going to win that game? The Lakers. They have more talent. They have more athleticism. They play faster. So if you put him on that team, he magnifies that talent. Do I think he likes to play with other stars and guys who have talent and who demand things out of him? Yes, because they push him to be better. In his older age, he's going to need somebody to push him to be the best player he can be at that point in time. He can't do it by himself.
And if you believe Dwayne Wade, there's a 2-team race. It's Cleveland or it's LA. Those are the only 2 teams that can provide the type of stability he's looking for, the family life that he's looking for, the lifestyle choice he's looking for. But LeBron James is not going to Los Angeles unless there is another superstar in tow. He is not going to LA to play with Brandon Ingram, to play with Lonzo Ball. He needs another guy. And there's no guarantee that guy's going to be out there. I don't think it's a foregone conclusion that Paul George leaves Oklahoma City. I don't think it's a foregone conclusion that Chris Paul would go anywhere. You can't convince me that when Chris Paul opted into his contract that there wasn't some kind of, handshake, wink, wink with the Houston Rockets saying, all right, we're going to at least give you this. Like at the bare minimum, we're going to give you a 3-year max or something like that. And after that, what are we looking at? DeMarcus Cousins coming off an Achilles injury? Who is the other superstar that's available that can play with LeBron James? So I'm with you on the Lakers being a great landing spot, but you have to tell me who that other guy is too. Who's going with him?
The most interesting thing you said, Paul George stays in OKC in your mind. You believe that?
I think there's a very good possibility. He's working out with Russell Westbrook here on the West Coast. The relationship, from what I've been told, between Russell Westbrook and Paul George is very strong. And then I go back to some of the public comments that were made in the aftermath of the series. Our first year, year one, stuff like that, what he said after losing. That's not a guy checking out. That's a guy that made lip service, a lot can change, but that sounded to me like a guy that was at least partially invested in being in Oklahoma City.
If Paul George ain't coming, Colin, that does change the dynamics about going to Los Angeles.
Yeah, Paul's got a big house in Calabasas. Just because you're working out together, he's got to work out with somebody. You'd want to work out with the best athlete in town. That's currently Russell Westbrook. I mean, I'm not denying any of this, but I do know the way it ended for Oklahoma City. Westbrook couldn't get along with fans leaving the floor. It unraveled. He was struggling with the media. Westbrook looked just off, unhappy.
If Paul George doesn't leave, we need to get Paul George in contact with your therapist because he needs some help. That would be one of the craziest decisions in the history of basketball. You just went through that with Carmelo Anthony, and you're going to sign up for that again? And Russell Westbrook, that would be a crazy decision.
If Paul doesn't leave, I think that's his second best choice, and I think it's probably contingent on the fact of where LeBron James goes. Because ultimately, guys, if you get a chance to play with Russell Westbrook or LeBron James, who you going to pick? LeBron James. So if LeBron doesn't want to go to L.A., then I can say he left the door wide open to go back just in case as his number 2. That's what it's seeming like.
Well, the Paul George free agency is going to be almost as interesting as LeBron because I don't know whether it's he brings teams to him or he goes to them, but they're going to be every team that we're talking about after LeBron or during LeBron's process is going to be going after Paul George. Philadelphia, aggressive after Paul George. Houston, aggressive after Paul George. He is going to be courted, maybe not on the same level as LeBron, but that net level right below.
All right, welcome back. Time for last call. Let's move to New England, where rumors have been flying that Bill Belichick almost traded Gronkowski this offseason until Tom Brady threatened to retire. Gronk called the whole story fake news. Cowherd, do you think the Patriots would actually trade Gronk?
In a second. Not even, listen, they've traded great players. And Gronk, by the way, got about 2 years left, don't you think?
All right, let me ask you a trickier question. Do you think Brady would be upset if they traded Gronkowski?
Absolutely.
And should be.
Absolutely. Listen, again, Tom's not 29 or 33. Tom's at the end of the road. He's done carrying people. He's done carrying water for the franchise.
I'll say this, if Belichick doesn't trade Gronkowski, it would be totally weird and off-brand for him.
Right.
He's gotten rid of everybody that reaches Gronk's stage, where not reliable health-wise, a little bit older. His best years are behind him.
And expensive.
Yeah, and he's got a year or two left. And so now is the time to trade Gronkowski, but is that fair to Tom Brady?
I'll tell you what, a lot of smoke with New England. Most of it's been very interesting.
A lot of fire.
There's a lot of fire. Off tomorrow.
Jets are happy.